5:00 because it's Texas time, but I'm Utah time, but I can't remember how my calendar's set up. So welcome everybody. Your host, Oz, we've got the one and only James Schultz. Long time for all of us to reunite. I talk to this guy about once a year when I have these random questions, and he's always the top of my mind. And I hit him up about once a year, but we haven't really dove in, and I haven't seen you for quite some time.
Yeah, it's been a bit. Yeah.
First time I've seen you. What? Okay, yeah, James. Okay, give us all a little head. For my audience, because there's a ton of them, I'm sure. This is the SIGAP Success Series, and I want to say this is episode 14. Had a little hiatus over Christmas and the holidays and all of that, but we're getting back into the swing of things, and I'm excited to bring the new year in with James. So that's what I like to see. I was telling him about my technology sorrows. That's why different picture, different office, different location. So pardon me. James, how have you been, man?
Yeah, good. Been well.
Dude, you look good. You've been working out, I could tell.
A little bit, yeah.
I'll ask you, we'll dive into a little bit more of that. But
Sure.
For those that are wanting to chime in and listen, where are you? What are you doing currently? And a little bit about your family and what's going on right now.
Okay. So I'm in Texas, in San Antonio, Texas, to be precise. I'm living, man. Career-wise, I am a software engineer, mobile software specifically. I work for a company up in Austin area. It's a light electric vehicle company called Volcon. And we build off-road motorcycles. We're starting to get into more on-road motorcycles and vehicles as well. So, I've been with them for not quite a year and a half. But, so I work on the team. There's like a onboard computer, and I interact with that computer, and the mobile app connects to it and talks to it and all that good stuff. So
you're 100% the software side of things, or the mobile side of things for this company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've dabbled in other things, and we wear a lot of hats. It's a pretty small company, so I do quite a bit of other things, I guess you could say, that are outside the typical software hat, I guess. But,
yeah. Very nice. And how long have you been in San Antonio then?
We've been here just over 4 years. Yeah.
Okay. 4 years. So you came down with a different company then?
Yeah. I came down for a job at USA. It's a bank insurance company. So they relocated us. We had kind of wanted to come down here, and that was our ticket down here. So.
Oh, nice. Use them to get down. That's the USAA, right? Something like that. That's the jingle. I think so.
I don't know. I was with them for a couple of years, and then did some contract work on the side for a while, and then took a break for a while, and now I'm with Volcon, having been, like I said, for about a year and a half. So.
Very cool. And family? You're married, Bonnie?
Yeah. So we've got 4 kids. Married to Bonnie, and then we've got a 10-year-old, 8. Well, she's now 9, and then almost 7-year-old and almost 5-year-old.
Very nice, man.
They're 2 years apart, almost exactly.
All of them. Seeing ours are 2.5. My youngest is killing me right now. 6-year-old is just. I love him. Oh, okay. Yeah. So 4 kids, that's where you're getting all this beautiful gray like me, right?
Oh my gosh, just the last few years it's exploded, man.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Yeah.
No faking it that you're a young man anymore.
Yeah. Can't pluck the odd ones out anymore.
Nope. Oh. Yeah. Somehow this has stayed slightly darker though, and my eyebrows have stayed darker, but you're looking distinguished. Very nice. Silver fox.
There we go.
Very good. Well, James, okay, catching up. So those that don't know, or as you kind of expressed, you do some mobile app. He did some freelance, and he and I. This is where I always chat with you about once a year. Is
Yeah.
every year I'm like, oh, I have an idea, or somebody brings me an idea, and I'm like, oh, I know a guy, and yeah, James has always been dabbling in the freelance. He's been working with different companies along the way, but he's kind of done some freelance on the side, developing different apps and software. But as far as I'm curious to know that question. Do you do Android as well, or just Apple?
I've dabbled a little here and there, but I mean, as far as my career goes, it's been primarily all
iOS.
Apple side of things. So
Okay.
it's hard to like keep up with both because they change so much. Both of them do. And
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, seriously. And that was kind of the problem as I reached out to you when something was coded one way and then had Apple switch to a new coding, and it constantly changes. So do you feel like you're a forever student because of that career? That you're always having to keep up,
I mean,
or
that's for sure. That's part of it, but I also just like learning. So I always got to be picking up on something. So yeah, if
that's
it's not
awesome.
that, it's something else. So
Well, so as those that watch know, and you've seen a couple episodes, I like to dive in a little bit of your history, and I want to learn a little bit
sure.
about what got you to Utah State, and then obviously we're going to dive in with some SIG memories. But ultimately, I do want to focus a little bit more on your career because you've kind of had this interesting where you've been able to bounce around a little bit and see different parts of the country, but also in the tech world in some
Yeah.
aspect, and it fascinates me. But then we'll dive into some of your hobbies currently because
All right.
I find that very entertaining. But
Okay.
where are you from?
I am from Logan, actually.
Okay,
Originally. Yeah.
so that's why Utah State, or was there other
Oh,
reasons? You're just like,
there's no good reason. It was just the default choice, so that's where I
huh?
ended up.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're going to Utah State. Were you living at home when you went to Utah State, or
To
did you
start
like?
out, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. For the first year or so, I was at home,
okay.
and then I was ready to get out and be on my own. So
Have your own curfew.
hmm they were pretty relaxed with me on all that. It was just you can't really bring friends over that well, and
Yeah,
anyway, but
yeah.
it was
Did
just
you
time to move on.
Did you, prior to the Utah State, I guess at what period in your life did you kind of look into software development?
Oh gosh, man. I actually avoided it for a long time. Anything with computers, I did not want that to be my career. It was something I avoided with a passion, to be honest. So,
So then what did you
it's
go to Utah State for? Like, what was your original degree?
oh man. So I changed degrees a bunch of times.
Mhm.
My original like degree path was exercise science, and then oh gosh, what else was I doing? I eventually settled into business. I was finance and economics, just kind of the standard thing. And then what else was I doing? I was always taking little odd classes here and there to I don't know, I just had a hard time deciding what I wanted to do, to be honest. So I just bounced around a lot. I took
Mhm.
a ton of different electives. I've got more than enough credits to have a degree, but I don't. I didn't actually graduate. So,
I'm
but
serious.
yeah,
It's like, oh, I'm done.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's kind of how it went. But yeah,
I did not know
but
that.
it's
That's
fun.
funny. That's well, you
Yeah,
shouldn't have said that because now all of a sudden the undergrads are going to come after you and be like, wait, there's some dues that are owed because you're not.
yeah, yeah,
Let's
yeah,
calculate the years, 10 plus years.
yeah. I'll do what I can. But.
No, you're good. So you came to Utah State. You started going to school there. When did you come across? I'm God, I'm trying to remember the moment or the activity that I came across you. But what drew you to SIGEP?
Um,
Do you remember that?
so the the first like interaction I had with anyone was actually a couple of the girls at the sorority.
Okay.
Well, there was like, you know how they set up the tables on the quad or whatever that is? I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember what it's called.
Day on the quad, I think.
Yeah, so I just went up to one of their tables and was like, if I were to join a fraternity, which one would it be? And I'm trying to remember specifically who it was. Um, I think it was Monique and maybe uh, gosh, I can't remember. Anyway, they're just like, definitely SIGAP. You got to talk to SIGAP, and
Huh.
they took my info and put me in touch with somebody. I don't know, but
So
I just
you were truly kind of
on the stuff.
recruited via referral.
I guess, yeah.
Huh. That's funny.
So
Okay. So you got to meet
yeah,
some of the boys, some of the brothers, and then do you remember what? And for the, I was apologizing to James. I had a bunch of stuff on my desktop computer, and my video's not working, so I had the spreadsheet that I could look up the date. Do you remember when
yeah.
you joined?
Let's see. So I didn't join till late in the year. Um, I had started like coming to stuff in the spring. I think it was 2005-ish, maybe two that. Yeah, I think 2005 is probably the year it was.
Fall of 2005.
In the spring, I
Okay.
started coming to stuff in the fall. I remember going to one of the dorm buildings, and you guys brought pizza and just had like a little something. I don't know. We did something in one of the rooms in the basement of one of the
Was it the
dorms.
basement of the Mountain View Towers?
I think so. Yeah.
Holy crap! Yeah, I vaguely remember that activity. Okay,
Yeah.
Troy
I
Holland.
remember.
For some reason, I think
I
Troy
remember. I
Holland
kept
was in charge.
seeing. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I definitely remember seeing you there, and oh, gosh, it's been too long, man. Um, yeah. Oh well.
No
But
worries.
yeah, so I went to that, went to all sorts of stuff. I yeah, I didn't join till like almost the end of the year. We had like a big thing up the canyon at the
Xanadu.
Xanadu. Yeah,
That's the picture I have of you.
yeah,
Yep.
the one. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
So
what was the tipping scale for you? Why SIGEP? Why what? Obviously, you got introduced via some sorority girls. You're interested. If I'm to meet you girls, what sort of fraternity and what was that draw? What created that question? Because you wanted to date
um,
the girls and you figured that's the best way.
no, there was a lot that went into it. I guess part of it was just like a yearning or desire to be more involved with what was going on campus. You still there?
Oh,
You're
hold on,
froze up on
I've
me.
lost you or something. James, you still with me?
It's a great smell, Oz.
Hold
You're
on,
still
ladies and
there.
gentlemen. We have got a. Oh, there you are. Just heard you. Okay, sorry. You cut out for the last 30 seconds.
Okay. Where'd we leave off there?
Something about like, oh yeah, I wanted to do the panty raids, and so that's why I figured I'd join a fraternity. Something like that. I don't know. That's where you cut off.
Okay. No, I had a desire to get more involved with things on campus. I had done a little bit with ASUSU stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
had joined some of the committees or whatever they're called. I don't remember all the
Mm-hmm.
names of that stuff, but so I had seen a lot of the letters up on whatever the
Third floor.
area where all
Yeah,
the
third floor of the TSC.
student government was. I'd seen a lot of letters on campus and just kind of got a feel that's where, a lot of the stuff was going on, but, and I had talked to, um, I knew like older people that had been in fraternities that just had just amazing things to say about them. So I knew it was more than just like the typical Hollywood thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know things had changed since they were in it, but I knew there was a lot more to it than just panty raids. Like, anyway, so yeah, I just felt like it could be a good way to build some friendships, get more involved, and just have a, a a better experience in college, I guess. So yeah.
Good for you, man. Yeah, that's I think for a bunch of the brothers, it was kind of getting out of their comfort zone, right?
Yeah, for sure.
College, we come from our high school era, and we're just like, sometimes we feel on top of our high school because you go through sophomore and junior and senior, and you're on top, and then you end up in college, and it's just like, wow, there are a lot more people in this state, world, city, and you kind of feel a little bit more humbled. And I know fraternities, for me, the fraternity as well as just getting active helped me take control of my future on that front. Good for you.
Yeah,
man.
I definitely feel like it was definitely helpful on that front to just kind of break out of my shell. I don't really feel like I'm still trying to break out of my shell, to be honest, but it wasn't till really college where that really began. I was pretty shy and reserved and prior to that. So yeah, still am, but.
And now you're a party animal, right? Right in the rivers.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's break it down. Give me, what are some key moments in your SIGEP? Thinking back, what was some defining moments for you in college, and if SIGEP played a role, and what were some of those things?
There's too many, man. Some defining moments. Oh, I don't know that I could pinpoint it down to specific moments. It's more just the experience as a whole was just it was just really great, and I haven't kept up with everybody like I should have, but I felt like I formed some pretty good friends and bonds and things. So, and like I said, just kind of helping break out of the bubble, the shell a little. So, some things that are really memorable, though, I guess. So there's, I really enjoyed SIGUP Sundays. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed being involved. I think when I joined, I think you were like the activities guy or something. I don't know what it's called, but you were kind of in charge of planning a lot of activities and stuff. And I joined your committee. So I started getting involved with helping planning activities and stuff. And I think it was at a retreat that you had challenged me and a few others to come up with some activities for the year. We did a bunch of stuff. So the Balance Man Triathlon, Sean Weeks and I believe we planned out that first one.
Correct. Which that was a big thing for you guys. I can't. I believe Zach Ames was hosting it, and that's kind of I think gave him some credit. But going back, you did remind me that Sean, because you guys were both fairly new at the time, and we put it upon the Sigmas to come up with something. Yeah,
so we at that retreat we listed out a bunch of ideas. That was one I think that actually stuck. I wouldn't say that we deserve any credit or anything. It took off really well after that. So, but I'm trying to think of some other things that we did. There
Yeah,
was like a rock. We planned a concert that was a total bomb, but um, that was actually a pretty good memory because like no one showed up, and you and me, we went and just started knocking doors in the dorms to get people to come to this concert. But
okay, so that's a memory
anyway,
I don't have. I don't.
yeah,
We had a rock concert and nobody showed, huh?
yeah. It was.
Who was playing?
So some friends of mine from earlier from high school, they had a band that I got them to come play for us. But yeah,
Where was this at?
it was in oh one of the like um dorms. I don't know that they're even there anymore. They had like a little common building that we just like booked one of the rooms in there. I shouldn't say nobody showed up. There was like 5 people that showed up that were
I'm sitting here racking my. I don't remember that.
yeah.
Holy crap. Okay. Well, then I'm
But
glad that it was a teaching moment for both of us.
yeah, it was a good time.
So I'm going to share with you a memory I have of you, and I don't know if this is where the spark for computer programming came from. I'm going to take total credit that this is probably where it came from.
Sure.
So we had to put together. It was like an end of year banquet, and I knew at the time. This is again 20 years ago. At the time, Macs were like the higher end. If you had a Mac, you were a true computer nerd. Like you knew what you were doing. Because I was a PC guy at the time, and I knew my Windows couldn't do crap, and I was racking my brain trying to put together slideshows, and whatever happened, I remember, yeah, you would have been on my committee, I believe, or at least you volunteered. You're like, hey, I can put together a slideshow, a presentation, and I remember going to your apartment or wherever it was, and you were showing me, and I remember you said you had a Mac. And you're like, oh, I can do this and I could do this. And you're talking about fades in, you're fading in, you have these pictures. And the whole time I'm like, this guy knows, like, he knows computers. He gets it. He gets it. And it was completely superficial. It was completely like, because you had a Mac, you were smart. You were really a serious computer guy. Looking back in hindsight, I kind of like laugh at that memory, but to me, like that was a big deal. Like, and you put together this great presentation on the history. In fact, like some of the old original photos, you got a hold of the scrapbook, you scanned in photos, you put this presentation together of like the olden era from the 30s and the 40s, I believe it was, and then you brought it into our era. For I don't know if it wasn't Xanadu, it was I think it was the next spring or something. But you were the kind of that did the whole thing, and I remember how it was very well done. You made it look easy, and I remember, gosh, that guy's the computer guy. Forever, you were the computer guy for me.
Okay. What they don't tell you is they just make the tools so they
They make
like
the
dumb
software so
everything down.
easy. Yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's true. It's true. Now I'm on a Mac, really, and I understand. It's like it's just drag and drop. It's just drag and drop. Oz. It was that simple. But I didn't know at the time. I just knew Macs were like the workhorse computer, and it was better. Anyways, you could do more, and you were just a wizard of it. And so it's kind of neat to see that you've stuck with that iOS software and you've grown in, and it's your full time job.
yeah. My wife, she shared some quote with me a while back that it's something like you often find the thing you're trying to avoid on the road to avoiding it, or I don't know, something like that. But anyway, that's kind of how it worked out. So
Absolutely. Like I never knew I would be what I am. It's by happenstance. But she's absolutely right. Like sometimes
yeah,
the little things get us in the right direction, and that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's really
I
interesting.
mean, I grew up around computers. I wasn't like a fanatic or anything, but my dad, that's was his career was in computers and stuff, so it was just kind of always around. So it was a little bit more like just absorbed it through osmosis, I guess you could say. But yeah, I just didn't want the. I knew that I would have trouble like sitting at a computer all day, and so I tried to avoid it for a long time. But it it got me. So
Well, so carry us on for the next few years. You didn't graduate.
yeah,
I love it. But you got
yeah.
out of school. Where did you meet Bonnie? What was the next steps? Because I know you left Logan for a bit. You settled in Logan. You then left Logan. Then you came back to Logan.
I've been
And
all
then,
over, man.
yeah. So give us the next,
Yeah.
15 years.
Let's see. So I had been in school for 4 years. Like I said, I had changed majors several times, so I had enough credits that I could have a degree. I just didn't have enough in any one area to have a degree. So I was just kind of at a point where it's just ready for a break, I guess. I don't know. But that would have been 2006 or 7. I started in 2003. And then, yeah, I think it was, uh, yeah, 2006 or 7 is when I just stopped going for a while and I just started working full time. Um, it was maybe,
What was that first job out of college?
I was working for a friend of mine. His dad his dad's a doctor there in Logan. So I was working for him, helping there in the office doing just whatever they needed me to do, basically. Um, but I did some like computer type work for them, and I did officey, businessy, managerial type things as well. So got a whole bunch of different things with them. I also did construction type jobs, and man, I was doing all sorts of stuff. Um, but let's see. So Bonnie and I got married in 2008. She was a friend of my younger brother, John, who actually also joined SIGAP for a while. Um, but anyway, so we got married 2008. I actually ended up going back to school in it was I don't know, a year or two after we got married. I decided to go back to school to finish up my degree, and I was having a great time finishing up my business classes. And I took an elective, um, and I ended up taking a computer science elective class, and just kind of really caught on to it and enjoyed it. So um, it just kind of tickled the brain in a way that I hadn't for a while. So
Mm-hmm.
I ended up switching again to computer science with a business minor, and then ended up a year after that, I transferred down to the U and went for a semester down there. I bounced all over, but anyway, then I dropped out from there again. We had our first kid shortly after that, and I already had a full-time job doing software. So I was just like, I've got all this debt. I've got a kid. I'm just gonna work. And anyway, so that's what I did. Let's see. What was your original question?
What was that first?
I'm off track here.
So I guess once you started taking some software
Yeah.
actual courses, you said you were working full time at the time. Then what was that first software gig?
Okay. So yeah. So I was just doing the regular software, computer software courses, but on the side, I was teaching myself mobile development, and I had dabbled in it on my own prior to that, but then I just kind of went overboard on it and taught myself, and then that's why I transferred to the U, is because they taught one mobile software engineering class. So I went down there and took that, and I already had a job at that point, working for a little startup based in Salt Lake. It was called Mysterious Trousers, and we made it's not really a thing anymore, but it was like the first third-party calendar app on the phone.
Okay.
So there's like the standard calendar app, and then
yeah. I think I vaguely remember you showing me this app.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was called not Helvetica, Calvetica.
Calvetica. Yeah.
So
okay.
It was Calvetica, and there was.
But the company was Mystery Trousers.
Yeah. So I was working full time for them for a couple years, and then took a job with a company in San Francisco, another startup. That was like a social network aggregator type thing. And anyway, yeah, so it would like connect to all your social networks and try to put them all into one feed, so you didn't have to bounce around to all the different apps to see all your social media feeds, and that morphed into other things. But
okay, so we're gonna pause there. Here you are, because this is where I think I first connected back with you after college.
Okay.
I remember having a conversation with you on the phone, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm living just outside of San Francisco." I'm like, "That's great, man," and things are going well. And you're like, "Things are going well," and I somehow the conversation got brought up, and maybe it was me just asking because I knew like San Francisco was notorious for the highest rent ever. And you're like, so I might have asked that question. It's like, what was your rent at the time? And was this 2010? Something like that, right? Or
I started with them in 2012.
Okay, 2012.
I didn't move out there till 2014. So I worked for them for a couple of years. Then I went to another startup right after them. And that's when we moved out there. So 2014, beginning of 2014, we moved out there.
So this is my question to you, and I don't know if you still remember. Yeah. What was your rent? Because here I am living in Logan, and my mortgage was like, at that time, it was like $850 or something like that. So what? You told me your rent. Do you remember it?
It was 2,600.
Was it only 2,600? I thought it was a little higher. But and the house, was it a full house?
Yeah, it was a full house. We were like 20 miles from downtown San Francisco, so we were a little bit outside the really high priced areas. But I know it's
maybe back then I was so dirt poor.
It was
like 2,700. Holy crap! How do you afford? Because I think I barely made 2,500 at the time or something like that.
We were our place in Cache Valley. I mean, we were paying like $700 or $800 a month in that place, so it was a huge jump to go from that to 26 plus all the utilities and everything. So
seriously,
yeah.
That's crazy. Okay, so then you did some software development there, and then you came back to Logan, if I remember.
Yeah, we spent a couple of years out there. I worked at 2 different startups out there. One was like so we built, it was one of the first apps that let you talk to a doctor through your phone. You could just chat with them and get questions answered just through your phone. And then I worked for a company. We were building out, just like, you know how in airports there's like all these like little stores along the concourses and stuff. We were trying to put stuff like that into the public transit stations, the subway system. So I was with them for a couple of years, and then moved back to Cache Valley, and then let's see. So in 2015, 16, somewhere in there, we moved back, and I started a job with another startup. It was a weight training startup actually called Strong Lifts. So I was with them for a couple of years, and just working remotely from right there in Cache Valley. It was a real small company. Everyone was all over the world, so we just work. Everyone worked remotely.
Hmm.
It was pretty cool.
So what you're trying to say? COVID did nothing to your daily work life.
Well,
Sounds like you've been doing COVID since 2012.
yeah, but pretty much, yeah. So,
When was the last time you actually worked in an office?
2000. Let's see. So USAA, I was with them for 2 years. I was in the office every day with them, and then the last few months I was with them is when COVID started.
Okay, okay.
And
So you had
we went to remote.
okay. So you had in between like this 10-year period of working remote, you had a little window of office life.
Yeah, so there was a couple years out in San Francisco that I worked in the office, and I was commuting a lot for that, and that was part of the reason that I went back to remote. Is just it just kills so much of your day to be commuting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, so a couple of years out there, and then a couple of years here working in the office, and pretty much every other job has been a remote thing.
So
So
would you say that if I was going to go into programming, computer programming, specifically
mhm.
mobile focus, is the big part of that industry working from home? Is it remote work? Do they, obviously COVID's transitioned a lot of that, but
Yeah.
even prior, it sounds like that's kind of acceptable to be remote type position.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more common for sure. But I'd still say most people are in the office.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I think if I had my preference, it would be a mix where I'd work in the office 2 or 3 days a week and work from home a couple days a week.
Okay.
So
But
when all the kids were home, it was like impossible to get any work done.
Mm-hmm.
That was really hard. But the kids are all back in school now. Our youngest, he's in preschool a couple days a week, so it's really not too bad.
Okay.
The hard part for me, like being in an office, is like it's so busy. There's so many noises, so many distractions. It's hard to get work done. So when I really need to focus, I need to like go to my cave and really just have some silence.
You'd love my office. I
Yeah.
hate it because it is a cave. Because I get zero distract. Like I'm in there now that the kids are in school. It drives me nuts. I got to get out. I thrive for a work life atmosphere, so I have slight distraction. That's funny that you kind of say to be productive for you. You like that tunnel style.
Well, there's different types of productive. There's definitely value in being around people and having the in-person experience. And like I said, I'd prefer to have a mixed setup if I could. So, yeah.
All right. So looking back, what would be something you would want to say, like in your industry, knowing what you do now? You've been doing it for on and off for about 15 years, roughly.
Sure, yeah.
What do you wish you would have known sooner so that you would have changed?
It's a good one. Probably, probably, and this kind of goes back to avoiding it initially, is like how like um hard it can be on you physically, like health wise. because there's like a lot of like culturally, there's kind of just a lot of pressure to just work a ton. You're just sitting there at the desk all day. You're not getting out. You're not exercising, you know. So, and it's easy to get sucked into like just work, 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 work. I mean,
Mhm.
that's true in any type of work, but like when you're just like sitting at your computer and you're working super late into the night and getting up super early and doing it all, you know, it just for me at least, it it's been pretty rough on my health. So yeah, I think I would have prioritized um, my health a lot sooner, sure, and not like allowed myself to get sucked into just working so much, I guess. So
So, are you now doing a sit stand desk?
I am not. I have had sit stand desk a lot. Um, I just get up and I go walk around or I go for a walk or whatever.
Okay.
I I I still sit at the desk and then yeah, every 30 minutes, every hour or so. I don't have a timer, but I just can't really sit there that long anyway. So
Yeah.
just get up, go get a drink, whatever.
Out of all the projects you've worked on, so you've been with a bunch of different startups, right? And you've worked with some more longevity style companies and bigger corporate. What has been the number one? If you were to kind of go through all of them, what's your top one? Are you still with it? Is it your current? Is it something you
Ooh,
had in the past that you're
um,
like, man, if I can go back?
which one's the top one that I've enjoyed the most? I mean, there's
or
different
or
types
that
of
you're
enjoyment.
or that you're most proud of. Let's change it. Let's
Okay.
rephrase it that way.
Uh, I don't know. There, like I said, there's different types of like enjoyment and different types of proudness, I guess. Um,
Tell us about it. What do you mean?
well, like what I'm doing now is like a ton of fun, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'd probably say that first. It's a really nice mix between the software stuff, but also working on an actual product, like a physical thing. So it's nice to like write some code, go jump on the bike and ride it around the neighborhood and try out what I just did. It's a little more like tangible and long term, I guess. I don't know. And it
Okay.
just scratches that itch for me. I really like doing physical stuff too. So,
All right.
um, but and it's just like really intellectually stimulating in ways that other things haven't. Like working on a little, I don't know.
So dive into that a little more granularly. Let me know, like, you're a computer programmer. Okay, so you do mobile app. What does that mean? Like, dive in a little bit more. What are you currently doing? Like when you talk about it, it's stimulating your intelligence. Like, are you trying to build the software that's connecting to the motorbikes that help plan out the motor and how it's gonna the RPMs? I don't know. These are foreign terms for me, but
Um, yeah. So what I'm doing right now is, as far as like the actual software I'm writing, I I connect to the bike wirelessly, and with the phone connects to the bike, it talks to a computer that's on the bike that's talking to all the components. There's a
Mhm.
motor, there's a battery, there's other little computers on the bike that are talking to those, and they all talk to this other computer, and then I talk to that. And um, anyway, so it's challenging from like a programming perspective, but it's also just, like I said, just really stimulating because for me, it may not be for everybody, but I just really like that it's I get to work on something real.
So are you trying to build out the code for the user? I buy a motorcycle, Volcon bike, let's say. Is it the functionality between me and my bike as far as tuning it? Or is it like just how often I drive it and it tracks my miles? Or
Yeah, okay, some examples like that. So like the bike I got right here. So like one of the features that I built is you can connect to the bike, you sign a waiver, and then you can unlock the bike to enable different drive modes, so you can go faster. You can adjust the performance of the bike a little. So
okay, so you can kind of customize your own bike through your own through the app that you're developed.
Yeah. So it's actually interacting directly with the bike and the motor controller and all that. So it's sending commands back and forth to manipulate the bike. And I mean, you can turn on the headlight, and you can change the drive modes and all that. You can see the speed and all that stuff. So
very cool. I get it now. I'm understanding. Very neat. So then, with what you're doing, you've talked about there's some health issues, because I think we, especially as we're getting into our 40s and so forth, we get into this grind, and physically sitting at a desk is statistically proven it's one of the worst things you can do.
Yeah,
sit at a desk for 8 hours a day. You're now catching that wind. What's so you've picked up some fun hobbies along the way.
Sure. Yeah.
You are currently. I want to talk about your little one of your hobbies. You've decided to change your health. Why is this? What are you doing now?
Well, I've started a lot of different things, but I think what you're alluding to is I'm doing a lot of weight training. So I go 3 times a week, and I work with a strength coach, and
you gotta brush that stuff off, James. You can't do that. You should be proud of yourself, man. I can run. Sure, I could go run 3 miles. But I've got the upper body of a weak lamb. Like, I can't lift anything. I don't do anything. Sure, like running sprints kicks my trash. Like, but I can just go slow and steady. So I'm impressed. You've joined. It sounds like you've gotten your wife involved, and you're trying to take your health back. And I think that's a crucial thing, especially for the guys our age. Like, we all graduated at the same time. I'm sure none of us is physically better than we were back then. We should. There's no reason. It's 20 years. We're still in the prime of our life. Right? 40's not that old. But man, I feel like I'm beat up, worn for wear. Yeah. So you've been doing this for how long?
Weight training wise, I mean, I did a lot growing up. I played a lot of sports and stuff in high school, and I did it through college, and ran and swam and just did tons of stuff up through college, and kind of, I don't know. It's not that I didn't want to do it anymore. It's just, life kind of happens.
Kids get in the way, man.
Yeah. When I worked for the company that it was a strength training app, I started getting back into it, and really enjoyed it. I was doing well. It was the first time I'd done like a really, really how would I call it? It's so there's just like going and exercising, and then there's going and doing a program and sticking to a program and like engineering your health, I guess you could say. That was the first time I really stuck to like a formal program, and it just kind of opened my eyes to it and what I could do. But I did that for I was pretty pleased with how well I did. I was just like injuring myself doing it, because I was just doing it on my own, and which is why when I got back into it, I decided to work with a coach, just so I could kind of avoid injury, and when I got injuries, they could help me work through it. So I did that. That was, gosh, 6 or so years ago. I don't know, but um, I had been like feeling it for a while, and I was just kind of in this mode of I'll get to it. I life just happens, But um, yeah, I definitely was feeling age creeping up on me for sure, especially as gray starts coming on and you start getting a little gut and you know. And then I guess what really kind of kicked this latest round off, I guess you could say, is the summer of, let's see, it would have been 2021. Yeah. So I haven't actually talked about this with many people, but I got COVID pretty bad. It was the beginning of July 2021, and I ended up being in the hospital with it pretty bad. And I don't know, it um,
changes your perspective a little bit in life.
yeah, I mean, when you gotta like, and I'm choking up a little here, I apologize, but when you get dropped off and you gotta tell your kids and your wife that things are going to be okay, but you don't actually know if they are. You're seeing all these people going into the hospital that don't come out. And you're like, I was telling them it's going to be okay, but in my head, I'm like, I don't actually know if I'm going to come back out of here, By that time, I was like, I was, and I don't want to like I don't want to like tell this to like try to get sympathy or anything, but like I was hit pretty hard with it. By that time I was like, and this is probably too much TMI, but I was coughing up blood. I was like the whole thing. I was very lethargic, like my hands and feet were losing color. And anyway, so
jeez, man,
pretty bad. My oxygen levels were really low, and so I really just didn't know if I was gonna come out. I felt like I would, but I didn't know, and that moment, like telling them, it's gonna be okay, even though in my head I didn't know if it was gonna be okay. It was like, crap, this is like a big deal, man, and you gotta like get it together. But then like in the hospital, just like, again, just like TMI probably, but just hearing people like dying in other rooms and like all that goes into that, and just I feel really fortunate that although mine was like pretty serious, I had a serious case of COVID. It was way better than a lot of the people that were in there at the same time as I was. So, I came out of it a week later, and they had done the rounds of all the medication and stuff that I needed for, I don't know, they did all this medicine intravenously and all that to get me through it. So, but I had developed pneumonia pretty bad, and anyway, so I came out of the hospital a week later. Basically, the entire month of July, though, I was sick with COVID bad, and but I got home on my son's birthday. I remember just feeling like so guilty that I'm like ruining my kid's birthday because my health is failing, and
but you came home. That's the
anyway,
that's the big thing.
So it was bittersweet. It was good because I got to come home, but it was also like this is my kid's birthday. It's supposed to be, his special day, not
Mm,
anyway.
I'm sure
So I was, yeah,
no, I'm sure that was special. That was a gift to have his
yeah,
dad home, especially after a scare like that. So,
yeah.
so
But,
it's the reality. Go ahead.
yeah, just like getting so sick, and then just like it wasn't over from there. I mean,
Yeah.
I could barely like do anything for a couple months. Just like it took me weeks to be able to just like walk anywhere. I would just like get so tired and just have to go like lay down. And it just was a huge, huge wake up call to like, geez, dude, you can't like keep putting this off. You can't keep putting off your health and ignoring it. I felt like a big part of the reason I got so sick is because I had just like put it off and ignored it, even though I knew I needed to get back into better shape.
Yeah.
It was always just like another thing on the list to try to get to, and yeah, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. But anyway,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, the next few months after that, I just was like, honestly, it was just like in the hospital. I have to change this. And it's sad that it took that to like wake up to getting back into better condition, but
Hmm.
it is what it is. But yeah, the effects of COVID after was like worse than COVID itself. So yeah, I like lost a ton of hair, lost a ton of weight. It's
Uh,
pretty bad. Had all sorts of stuff since then, and still trying to get it all under control. So, but yeah, a few months after that, I signed up for a gym here. The whole model is um, the whole model is that you work with a coach um, every workout. They have a formal plan. You like are engineering your strength really, and you have your own platform that's assigned to you. So you have like the same platform every time and the same coach every time. Well, unless they're on vacation or whatever. But anyway, so yeah, I started that in tail end of November 2021. Yeah, so just a little over a year been doing that. So
Very good,
3 days
man.
a week. Yeah,
You that's a beautiful. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that they had to deal with that, but it's a beautiful outcome. To say today you're healthy, you're breaking records on your bench and your
yeah,
squats, and you're doing things that you've never done physically. Um, it sorry, I looked up. There's this quote recently came across. Well, it's a show I watch with my children. You should watch it if you have not. Which
all right.
it's based off of a book. The boy. What's the book? The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. Have you ever read that book with your kids?
I have not, no.
Okay, they've turned it. Who turned it? Is it Apple? Apple TV turned it into, or at least they bought a little movie. It's 30 minutes. Long story short, filled with amazing quotes. But what you just said makes me, it brings to mind this one quote. It says, um, the mole, this is the mole asking the boy, is your glass half empty or half full? Boy said, I think I'm just grateful to have a glass.
Yeah,
We,
yeah,
we, physically, and I get back to this all the time. Is I call this the Sig Up Success Series, and you've said it to me, and other brothers have said it. Is like, well, I don't feel successful. My definition of success might not be the same definition that first comes to mind.
yeah,
I think a lot of people think, success is dollars and cents, and having a raw conversation with you right now about health. Right? I'm healthy. Could I be? But I would have to say I'm probably in the worst shape. I'm healthy, but I'm in the worst shape that I've been in a while. And yeah, it's unfortunate if things happen, but it's like, is it, are we on the up or are we on the down? Well, I'm just grateful to have the body I have and to be able to spend a day with your son at his birthday and the moments we have and cherish those moments. And that's to me part of success, right? Are we successful in being there for our families, providing, helping, taking care of our bodies? You're definitely taking some amazing steps and being successful about following. You said following the program has been the hardest thing. As far as in the past, you've done stuff, but you've never stuck with a plan or a program. That's my thing. Is I don't stick with the solid plan. So I applaud you for that. I applaud you for just sticking with it. That is the biggest step, and that is a true definition of success.
Yeah, I'm like super like it sucks that we got so sick and put the family through all that, but I'm like so grateful for it. It's one of the best things that ever happened to me. And I've just, I don't know, it's just given me I don't know, just the like oomph to just like never again. I'm just like
eat better.
Not gonna yeah, I mean I've been changing tons of stuff. There's diet changes and exercise changes, but lots and lots of health changes, and my wife's doing it with me too. And yeah, it's been really good. I want like almost 1 year to the day. I got into our 1,000-pound club in the gym. It's that was like really, I knew it was coming up. It was like really pushing to like do the 1,000-pound club. That's just where between the press, the deadlift, and the squat, you can do 1,000 pounds cumulative, like between the three. So the day, almost to the day I got out of the hospital, it was like the day before.
Dude, that's awesome.
I got into the 1,000-pound club. I was one of the most proud, not like in a, I don't know, just I was very excited to
be proud. There's nothing wrong with that self-pride in that sense. Good for you, man. Yeah, love it. Like, I'm glad health-wise everything worked out and that's going on for you right now. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, I want to ask you my final few questions. Because you're in this industry, you've been, bouncing around, you kind of set your schedule to some degree. What if I gave you all the money in the world that you ever needed? What would you do with yourself besides join the 2,000-pound club?
So we gotta qualify this question a little.
All right, yeah, we could define it a little more.
Are we talking about like, $1 million, billion?
Yeah, we're gonna say billion. We just won the lottery, the $1 billion lottery. What do you do with your days? You just won. So after taxes, you're really only getting like 400 million. That's all.
I don't know. Life is unpredictable, so I don't really have a good answer for you there because I don't know what I'd do. I would want to like set aside enough to be pretty set for whatever I need, but then the rest I just kind of want to just like put it to use for just, I don't know, helping other people, doing things I'm interested in, following passions, and I don't know.
Float more rivers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been fun here in Texas. Lots of good rivers.
So just the simplicities of life. Just enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, some of it's like, man, you can do a lot with that kind of money. So I don't need that much to be satisfied. I could put my little nest egg away
Mm-hmm.
and just go. Just I don't know where it would go, but find some things to do good with it. I don't know. I'm sure there's a brother in here that's a financial planner or something that I could speak with that could help me do some planning. But
Help you set up. Okay. Good to know.
yeah,
We often don't look it, and I'll challenge you to this independently. It's just like we focus too much. It's important to focus in on the now, but are we preparing for the future and the what ifs? Because the what ifs, if we
yeah,
believe in them, they sometimes happen in the sense of, and I'm never saying the lottery is the answer, but if the opportunity arises, when opportunities arise, are we ready to move in that or jump?
yeah.
So with
No,
career
it's
wise,
funny. It's funny to say that because like that's a lot of my thinking with like getting in better shape because you've got to invest in your financial like retirement, but you've also got to invest in your physical retirement,
yeah,
your health retirement fund, basically. So like you can't neglect either one.
it's
You
not
got to
worth
invest in
having.
both.
Yeah, it's not worth being retired. You retire at 60, yet you're in the worst physical condition of your life, and you might have millions of dollars to spend, but you physically can't go spend it because
Yeah,
you're unhealthy.
yeah,
Yeah, I've come across a couple of people like that where, yeah, it's take advantage of these moments now. Be grateful for the glass. Half full, half
yeah.
empty. Just be grateful to have a glass.
Yeah, if you're not using it, you lose it, man. It goes
Absolutely,
fast. Yeah.
absolutely. All right. Finally, last thing, twofold question. I want you to share a message with the undergrads, those that are listening, maybe that are wanting to go into computer programming or wanting to know more. What would be some advice you would give them? So maybe looking back at yourself, and then I'll follow that one up. What do you want to say to your brothers that you haven't seen in 15, 20 years?
All right. So which one first?
Undergrads.
The advice to undergrads. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, career wise, I think the biggest thing is just like keep showing up. Like if you want to do it, but just with anything, I think the secret to any of this stuff is just keep showing up. Just keep doing it. you know, you everything's figure outable if you just keep trying, keep working on it, keep showing up. I don't have any like magic uh, secret things that can help anybody besides just work hard and keep showing up and do it. Um, there's as far as like learning it. I mean, there's so many resources for learning it online and all over the place and outside of school even. So there's an abundance of and wealth of information that you can get from all over the place. So you don't need my help for actually learning any of it. Just keep showing up. I'm happy to like talk to anybody that wants advice or referral or whatever. Um, but yeah, just keep showing up and get after it. And yeah, and then I guess life advice would be the same. Just keep showing up. Keep doing your thing. Don't give up. Yeah, I mean you're only out if you pull yourself out, and sometimes that's the thing to do. But sometimes all you got to do is just keep going. Um, and also just like yeah, life is just precious. Just you never know what's going to happen. You can I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Just um, you don't know how long you got. You don't know any of that. and you only get one shot at it. So just go all out and just, yeah. Don't hold back and give it all, give it your all, give everything your all, so.
Right. Anything to your brothers you haven't seen for 15 years?
Yeah, sorry for not keeping up with everybody.
You're not alone in this. We've all done it.
Yeah. We'll have to do a big get together sometime. Somewhere.
All right, you heard it.
Come by my place here.
Yeah, if you're ever in San Antonio, you want to go see the Alamo, go touch base with James. He'll take you on a private tour. Right, float the river, the city walk.
Yeah, tons of rivers, lots of good barbecue. Within like 2 hours of the world's best barbecue, like tons of different barbecue. So, but great weather, come on down.
Do you see yourself staying in San Antonio for quite some time then?
I don't see any reason to leave for the foreseeable future. We really enjoy it. I mean, there's some things we miss about Utah, but overall, we've really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's our friends told us this one time, which I agree with. Like, there's 2 or 3 months of really hot, and then it's San Diego weather the rest of the year, which I think is a pretty fair trade-off. So, yeah.
If that, I'm the same way here in St. George. I get away from my 2 or 3 bad months, so I'm just spoiled all around.
Yeah.
Brother James, so good to see your face. So good to talk to you. I am grateful for your time. I'm grateful for what you shared with us, and it's cool. Like I said, I again been talking with my partner. Still have that app, and we're thinking, do we want to revisit it? Maybe not. We'll see. But I could throw some thoughts your way and pick your brain on that one as well.
Sure. Yeah. Anytime. Just for anybody. So.
I appreciate all that you do. With that, I'll turn it off and we'll move on. But like I said, if you guys want to get a hold of James, you're on LinkedIn, right?
I am, yeah.
LinkedIn, Facebook, connect with him if you want to learn a little bit more about computer programming and especially iOS build outs. But and also if you want a Volcon bike, I could tell you all about them.
Yeah.
All right.
Got some good ones coming, so yeah.
Fantastic. Love you, brother. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah. Catch you later.
Wish the family have for me.
Will do.
Okay, bye.
Bye.